Today on the Leading Life podcast, we're going to talk about mental energy.
Actually, you know what, Brennan, I had the volume turned way down. You want to say that again?
Today on the Leading Life podcast, we're going to talk about mental energy and how to get it. Welcome to Leading Life, the show all about living to the fullest and leading life on your terms.
You will learn tips, tools, and strategies for achieving total personal transformation.
I'm Bren.
And I'm Cam.
This is Leading Life.
What up? Welcome to this special, very special, extremely always special episode of Leading Life. Today, it is a Wednesday. It's hump day for some people who hate their lives. But today, it's one of the best days of the week. Why? Because we got Kyle Dudney in the house. Say hello, Kyle.
Hello there, everyone.
What's up?
Okay. So, we, like always, we are very, very indecisive on what we're going to talk about in this podcast. So, like 5 minutes ago, we decided we're going to talk about mental energy today. That's basically being able to get yourself to do something without physical energy. The mental energy is pushing you towards that. Like, you could be off of, like, no sleep for 3 days. You're running on fumes, but, like, the mental energy is keeping you going, which I feel like a lot of people in college, university deal with a lot of this. So, actually, Brennan's the one who suggested we do this topic. So, bro, what's with mental energy? Tell me more.
So look, the reason I wanted to bring this up today was because the past kind of week of my life, I've been just sleeping in a lot. And it's not like it's a problem. I mean, I've been trying to make it a habit to wake up early. That's my thing. But I just keep sleeping in. I mean, I keep staying up late, which is probably part of it. But as soon as I wake up and realize I've slept in, it's like I hop out of bed super fast. I get all my stuff done. I feel super pumped about life. And, even if it's a 2-hour sleep, even if it's a 12-hour sleep, whatever it is, I've just been able to cultivate this mental energy. And so today on the podcast, I pretty much just want to share what that is, what that means, why it's important, why sometimes mental energy is even more important than physical energy, and then how you could get it. And I was super pumped when Kyle showed up here because he showed up out of nowhere, I think like 2 minutes before we went live. We're like, Kyle, you want to be on the show? Want to be on the show? Let's have Kyle on the show. So, we're going to talk about mental energy, man, which is in another way to say it's kind of motivation, it's kind of, just the way I like to think of it is you could be the most unhealthy person. You could have no sleep. You could be sore and in pain in your body. But as long as your mind is still energetic, you can still make stuff happen. You can still go out there and seize the day. And that's really more important than physical energy, I think, which we did talk about physical energy a couple episodes ago, right?
Absolutely, man. So once you have the physical energy figured out, the mental energy is honestly the hard part. Physical energy is easy. Like, get sleep, eat well, work out, bam, you've got physical energy. But the mental energy, you gotta know exactly what you want, and you have to be making progress towards that. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. But I want to introduce Kyle because, like, the guy is amazing. Ever since I met him, man, he's the kind of person who gives you energy when he's in the room. It's awesome, man. So, Kyle, introduce yourself. Like, where do you come from? Like, how have you become the person you are today? The person who actually inspires people just by being yourself. Like, why are you here?
Well, I'd finally moved to Blenheim after wanting to for about 3 years after meeting Letterbomb there at a little gig here in Chatham. So I was finally able to do that. But first, in that 3-year span, I realized I'm going to need a decent job because I've got to be able to support myself. But what I realized from an employer, his name was Raymond Oosterveld, and he told me that most people can see exactly what they want, but they don't know the necessary steps to actually get there. So that's the hardest part of it all. Yes, mental energy is fine, but once a person actually knows the steps they have to do to get there, now you can apply the mental energy to it because now you're doing the little goals that you need to do, but you're also seeing success. And that is the key. That is truly the key. I mean, it's easy to pump yourself up, I find. I can do it every day, every single day. But when you're pumping yourself up, when you don't have a crystallized vision of the steps that you need to take to gain your goal, it kind of seems just to go, and then you kind of start losing energy and you're like, oh, how is this going to happen? So you got to set yourself up for little successes. and then that way you can reach your big goal that's over here, right?
Couldn't agree
Mine was
more,
to
man.
get an education,
Hmm.
which I did. You know, I went to transport training centers. It's just something to fall back on. You got to be able to bring in an income in order to capture your dream. Definitely. But at the same point in time, as you're making your income, you know that you need to work 8 hours to at least make a decent living. Then you can spend the other 4 hours of your night working towards your little goal. And then by the time you've actually reached your little goals that you need to get to your big goal, well, there goes the day job. Now you're living the dream. And that is truly the hardest part. And that's still what I'm working towards today.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more, dude. Like, a lot of people, like, the toughest part of being an entrepreneur and working for yourself is creating your own work. Like I sometimes wish I could sit down and live the conveyor belt lifestyle where work comes to me and I just do it and I don't have to think. But every single day of my life, I have to get up and give myself work. I have to get up and wake myself up. And Jesus, I have to get up and like, nobody's on my ass, you know what I mean? I'm on my own ass, and that's tough. That's why people are overweight. That's why people are lazy, is because like half the time nobody's telling you, hey, like, go work out, or hey, go eat healthy. It's like, it's your life and you have to be the one to tell yourself that. And that's why pumping yourself up does help.
Absolutely.
You know, giving yourself that mental juice, because a lot of people don't have mental juice, especially after a long day of hard work. Like for me, like editing videos and being creative, it's fun, but it takes up like that brain power, you know? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just before I was getting on this show, and I was kind of thinking of topics, I was watching videos about mental energy. That's kind of how I get pumped up. I watch videos, I read books, I just educate myself. Like when I learn, I get pumped. And it empowers me to know that, like, okay, I've got a little strategy, I've got a how now that I could put into action. And the way this guy was explaining mental energy was great. Like he explained it in one way, like imagine a guy who's like head over heels in love with this girl, right? And they're together for a few months and he's doing really well. He's got this good job. He's working out consistently. He's got a nice apartment. He's got a nice car. He's really happy about his life. He's just pumped. And then he's in this great relationship too. And then something happens and she decides that, you know, we need to take a break. I can't be with you right now. And so they separate and this guy completely lets his life go. He grows this big stinky beard. He gets overweight. He eats a bunch of pizza. He ends up losing his job. His apartment's a disaster and he just hates his life. And so he says, you know, I just feel like I don't have the energy to do anything. I just don't feel like I could do anything. Like I'm just not feeling it. And then what happens is this girl calls him back and says, hey, you know, I made a mistake. Let's get back together. Could you meet me in like 30 minutes at this coffee shop? And all of a sudden, he's like super pumped about life again. He shaves his beard. He takes a shower. He cleans his apartment. He like gets everything together just so that he could go see this girl. And all of a sudden, he's pumped. All of a sudden, he's actually has energy out of nowhere. And that's, I think, is a great example of mental energy. Is like you could be overweight. You could, you know, no matter what kind of vitamins you might be deficient in or whatever, you could still have that energy because it could come from up here. Another great example of mental energy is like the vacation syndrome. You know what I mean? Like when you're on vacation and like everything is just amazing. You could only have 2 hours of sleep. You might even stay up a few days just because you're in this, maybe you're in Fiji, maybe you're in Costa Rica, maybe you're in this camping or something, you're around friends having a great time, but you just have the energy to go because there's something new. There's an adventure. There's like this mental energy that gets you to do things. And I find so many people are struggling with that, especially in the mornings, man. Like I still struggle with this all the time where it's like my alarm clock goes off and I'm just like, please, like, could I get a little bit more sleep? Could we not alarm clock right now? And anytime I get caught in that trap, it's not because physically I'm not feeling right. Like I exercise every day. I eat healthy foods. I drink water consistently. I'm a freaking health nut. Like it all comes down to mental energy. And I'm still learning to master that, you know, pump up or whatever you want to call it for the first hour of the morning, getting pumped up. Another reason I want to bring this up today, because like I was at the dog park today doing meditation and I was meditating. And before I got into this meditation, I was kind of mad. I was like, okay, not feeling that great. But then I started to think about what I was grateful for. I was listening to an audio tape that was like kind of walking me through gratitude and walking me through visualization. And it was like, dude, 8 minutes and I get out of this meditation. I was pumped. I was like, I was walking home. I was smiling. I was excited to get home and get to some work done, excited to get on this podcast, excited to do all these things. I think that's the main word I want people to get today is excitement. Because when you feel excited, it's like anything could happen, man. You could feel like crap, but if you're excited, if it's Christmas morning, nothing matters. You know what I mean? And so that's what I kind of want to help share with people, because I know so many people struggle with that, and I still struggle with this sometimes. So
Yeah,
that's
dude,
my
like what gets me excited is just answering the right questions. Like what I've done to myself, and I've done this with a few coaching clients, is you just give them a list like of essay questions that you would usually answer in English class, except the answer is what gets you excited. So like, give me 50 reasons why you're excited for the future, or even excited today. Like for me, it'd be like, the amount of times I'm going to eat an awesome meal, you know, the amount of sunsets I'm going to see, the amount of car rides, the amount of hugs, the amount of smiles, the amount of Christmases. I love Christmas. The amount of birthdays I'm going to have because I love my birthday. You know, the amount of times I'm going to visit the skate park, the amount of times I'm going to wake up and listen to the birds and meditate, and the amount of times I'm going to be able to drink a nice big glass of water and feel good afterwards. I don't know. The amount of times I'm going to piss. I love feeling that feeling after you're done pissing, that relief. Like, that's awesome. You know, little things like that. You make yourself a big list of like 50 things that just like 50. I don't know, do 500. I don't know, because there's so many things out there in life that can make you excited. And I guarantee you, after making this list, you'll be pumped about everything. You'll just want to go experience. You won't want to sit down and watch TV. You're going to want to get up and go visit some people or create something. I don't know. But that's really what gives me mental energy for sure.
Yeah. What about you, man? Where does your pump up energy come from all the time?
Self-confidence.
Yeah.
Having confidence in oneself. That is the beginning. If you don't love yourself, you can't even love anyone. You just can't. That means you have no confidence in what you're going to do. You're not really going to succeed, because I mean, if you look at some of the great men out through time, I mean, Martin Luther King, man that had extreme confidence, he had charisma, but he still had to go through certain trials and tribulations of his own. That's how you become the man that you eventually want to be. I mean, mental energy. Where are we going here? When it comes to meditation, you've got to meditate on the good things. If you're having a bad day, you're in Canada. I want people to realize this, or you're in America, or you're off in Europe, someplace where it's actually nice. But why don't we go to a war-torn country, where kids don't have clean drinking water? It's harder for them to conquer their dreams. You're talking about little villages in Africa, even Haiti. These places are the things that I must review just about every single day that I start getting down on myself, because I'm like, that's hard. That's hard coming from that type of situation.
Oh, yeah, the perspective, man.
Basically the perspective is right. Like, you may not seem rich, but to these people you are. You have every single tool that you have at your disposal to be successful. If you're not successful in your own little way,
yeah, it's like having your own definition of success, right? Because
basically
our definition of success or of happiness or fulfillment is much different than what it can be in like a war-torn country, where success for them might just be like, oh, I drank water today, I had a good meal, and I'm with my friends and family. Boom, success.
Yeah.
Right. But for us, it's like, no, I need all this money, I need all this influence, all this impact. I got to change the world overnight. I gotta all these things, right?
Yeah.
And then we just get down on ourselves and we beat ourselves up, and then we start overthinking, and like that ruins your mental energy when you lose perspective of how grateful you really can be, or how good you really got it. And you lose perspective of like just the possibilities. That's what pumps me up sometimes, just realizing the possibilities. Like, dude, I was born in Canada, man. Like Canada, not war-torn Syria, like Canada. And not only that, like I have a beautiful family. Like I got this computer that I'm talking. I got this microphone. I got my buddy Kyle here. Like it's amazing. It really is amazing. But you have to take time to think about that. Like gratitude is not just going to come and slap you in the face one day. You have to sit there and like, that's why I love meditation, is because like you put yourself in the moment where it's like you have no choice, but you have to like be in your head and you have to think about this thing.
Yeah, dude, like
everything.
I love what Kyle said about self-confidence. That's so important when it comes to mental energy. It's insane because say you're going to live your like you're just going for a walk, you're going to work or something, you're walking to work. If you're not confident that like the floor is going to stay there and you're not going to fall through the earth and die, if you're not confident that you're not going to fall off a cliff, if you're not confident that like a big massive chunk of hail is going to hit you in the face and you're going to die, then you probably won't even go outside. You won't even take your chance. You won't have energy to go outside. You'll be like, I'm too tired, I'm not doing this. A lot of people like a lot of people don't want to go to school because they're not confident in their abilities. They think they're academically stupid or they're a failure academically. So they're so tired in the morning, they don't want to go to school because it's a place that shows them that they're not confident. Another way of putting that could be like a soccer game. If you're an awful athlete and you don't try, if you're an awful athlete and you don't practice, practice makes perfect, man. Like practice is nothing but like installing knowledge through your muscle memory. It's like telling your muscles what's up, so that when you're on the field, on the court, your muscles have the knowledge to like get away from this guy and deke that guy and throw it in the hoop or whatever sport you're playing. Same thing with music. If you don't know the songs, you're probably not going to have a lot of mental energy, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I don't know this that well. I don't feel comfortable playing this song because I don't know it. But if you prepare ahead of time, that's confidence. That gives you the energy to go for it. That's why you see so many confident people. They're not tired. No extremely confident person who loves themselves and loves everything they do is tired. Like right now I'm pumped up because it's like I'm just confident in this podcast. We do it every single day. Every day is a practice and every day gets better with this podcast. Right? Every time I speak, I get better at speaking. And I get more energy when I speak because I know I'm better and I know I'm getting better, and it's this whole cycle, man. And same thing with music, same thing with like everything I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, like that practice, it gives you confidence. It also helps you save mental energy because you don't have to think about anything. It's just there. I feel like we drain our mental energy when we're constantly making decisions. Oh, should I focus on this or should I focus on this? Is that something I should think about?
Dude,
or not think?
The best example for that, man, is your morning smoothie, Brennan. Like, how many times have you done that? You don't even think when you go to do it. How many times have you driven to work the same way? You don't think about it. Your muscles just do it for you. And that goes with a lot of things. You don't have to spend that mental energy. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who wear the same things every day. Like Mark Zuckerberg, he like wears jeans and a gray t-shirt every single day. Steve Jobs has his, no, not Steve Jobs. Yeah, Steve Jobs wears a turtleneck to work every day. He used to. You know what I mean? Like little things like that. They don't even think. They don't give themselves time to think about what to wear. They're too busy. Their mental energy is like finite, and they know that, right? So I totally agree with that for sure.
Yeah, man. So right off the bat, I think we're coming kind of near the end of the podcast. I think we should kind of take everything we talked about and turn it into like three ways, like three main things that people could take away to increase their mental energy and to like use what we talked about today rather than just us have a cool conversation.
Yeah, man, let's you want to give like a step-by-step process for our listeners?
Well, I think the number one thing to think about based on what we talked about is, well, first off is confidence. Have confidence in yourself and practice. Like Kyle was saying, because when you practice, you develop self-confidence, you develop that muscle memory. You don't even have to think about it anymore. And the less you have to think, the better. And I say that step number two is save your mental energy, like make less decisions throughout the day. I'm telling you right now, guys, and you probably found us because you were doing this, and I'm sorry about this, but seriously, one of the things that drains your mental energy the most is browsing through social media. Like when you're on your phone and you're flipping through and you're just like, every single time you see somebody's post, your brain is subconsciously asking itself, should I think about this or should I not think about this? Should I comment on this or should I not? Should I like this or should I not? Should I share this? No. Do I agree with this or not? Is this cool or is this not cool? Okay. Is this person a good person? Is this person a bad person? You're constantly like, your brain's constantly making decisions. And every time you make a decision, you're losing your mental energy. And then you have less energy to make the decision. Like, should I work out right now or should I not work out right now? Should I go to work or should I not go to work? Should I be happy and grateful or should I like just not even think about it? That's something so important that is completely changed the game for me. I noticed like if I spend 5, 15, 10 minutes, whatever on social media scrolling and I put it down, like I'm tired. Like I'm just like, oh dude, that was a lot to think about. And that's so many of us, that's what we do all day. Like I know people who 4 hours a day, they're scrolling through Facebook, looking at funny little clips or commenting on people's statuses and stuff. And I'm not saying anything wrong with social media because I love it. I really do. But to use it consciously in the sense where like, I'm here for a reason. I'm here to connect with my friends, or I'm here to comment on stuff, or I'm here to learn, or I'm here to share or whatever, instead of just going through there and browsing like, what should I think about today? What should I, you're kind of just allowing things to think for you. Do you have any other tips, Kim?
For saving mental energy, I would say, like, like don't give yourself a chance to think, or a chance to. You don't have to make as many decisions. Like, what I do is I actually think about what I'm going to eat the next day before I even just before I go to bed. I think of what I'm going to eat the next day, because like a lot of people, they spend too much time thinking about what they're going to eat, which restaurant they're going to, like what entree they're going to get. Like, dude, just make the decision and go about your life, because like so many people, we spend most our time leading up to something, like thinking about something when really that thing is so small. Like I spend my entire day, or at least a lot of my day, just focused on dinner, when in reality dinner lasts 20 minutes. I don't know how long you're going to eat it for. And once you're done eating it, digestion is a thing. You don't have to think about digestion. But most of the time we just think about what we're going to eat, or we think about the test and we're just focused on that. I think it was Overwhelm we were talking about in another episode. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. But we were talking about how most people have their mind set on something that's not even happening yet. Like I'm so like, I don't want to be, I'm worried about this test. I'm worried about this test. I need to study. I need to worry about this test, blah, blah, blah. I'm worried about the test. And yet the test like lasts 60 minutes. You're in class. But like you've probably accumulated over 1,000 minutes of just thinking about it and being in that place, when in reality we should always be in the moment. And that, like, I feel like a lot of our episodes lead into that moral is just like live in the moment, because that will help everything. It'll save you mental energy. It'll make you happy at the end of the day. It'll help you solve problems too if you're in the moment, because you realize that you have no problems. Like, what problems do you actually have in the moment right now? Not many. Because like I said, dinner lasts 60 minutes. You have 24 hours in a day. Dinner should only last 60 minutes in your brain if it only lasts 60 minutes in real life. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of school. Like going to school and like being at school all day and thinking about like getting home. Like you're at school or you're at work and you're there all day, and instead of just living in the moment and just like being there and doing that, you imagine yourself like, I can't wait till I get home to play video games. I can't wait till I get home to see my friends, or I can't wait to get home and take a break or whatever it is. And instead of being in that moment, like I remember spending all I could remember school being was like me in class waiting to get home so I could play video games. Like that was school for me. So that's a good point, man. You got anything else to add to that?
I guess we're just going to go back to the three things. I would just say have self-confidence in yourself and your abilities, whether you're going to win or fail. Failure could just be another lesson for you to learn in order to capture what you need to. Number two, I would say look in the mirror and really get to know yourself. Don't pick yourself apart. That's not what I mean at all. But just get to know yourself. Point out some of your flaws and where you could fix it. And number three, I would say take action. Thus be living in the moment, because really you only miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's it for me.
Boom. Yeah, I think that's it for me too, man. I ain't got much else to say other than like, thanks Kyle for coming out here.
Thank
you.
Like
within like two minutes of being here, we're like, Kyle, you got to be on the podcast. Kyle, just be on the podcast. So completely unexpected.
Yeah, first podcast.
Yeah.
What can I say? Kind of just out of nowhere. Nowhere.
Yeah, but I knew Kyle. I knew you'd do great, because like me, you, and Cam have had these kind of conversations before, where it's just like, talking about life, talking about like our dreams, talking about how we're gonna get there and what it takes to get there. And so like, yeah, great job, man. Great job. Okay, Cam, what's the outro, man? What do we got?
I have to say one more thing. When it comes to mental energy, you have to be living your life purpose. And I mean, 90% of the population has no idea what their life purpose is, which that's the problem. And hopefully we can have a future episode talking about how to get your life purpose, like how to figure out exactly what that is, because everybody has it. Everybody has like that thing that no matter where they are, what they're doing, it makes them happy. Like, it doesn't matter if my entire family just got brutally murdered. If I'm doing this thing, it'll cheer me up. I know that's kind of dark, but you have to find something like that. Something where
Aaron, you're always that
Oh,
guy.
yeah, you're talking about that. That would literally be mentally destroying someone. So
Yeah.
I'm
Cam's
trying to build him up.
like-
Cam.
It's not, okay, yeah, maybe that was a little. I crossed the line. All right, we know what the line
Cameron,
is
you're
now.
just the type of guy that, like, I'm gonna tear you down to build you up.
So true.
But
No,
in the
but-
process, we may never get your foundation actually strong enough. So just calm her down there with the murder. That's a little much. Happens every day. I know. Wow.
No, but like I said, you've got to find that. You've got to find that purpose, something that gives you that juice. The reason you wake up in the morning, like what? Like a lot of people, I forget who I was listening to. It probably might even be somebody we know, but he said, I know for a fact everybody in the audience right now didn't kill themselves, and he's like, why are you guys here? Why did you get out of bed in the morning? And that's the question you got to ask. So, like I said, do all the things that they were talking about, but also ask yourself the right questions, because you'd be surprised at the answers you can come up with. And I guess that goes into like knowing yourself. But yeah, that's all I
In
have.
the mirror, Cameron. Looking in the mirror.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's true, man. And so many people, I mean, speaking for myself personally, I remember like dreading that. Like, I don't want to look in the mirror. I don't want to talk to myself or look at myself. But now, like, I do it every day. Like on my way home from the dog park today, I had a whole conversation with myself. Some people might be driving by thinking I'm insane, but for me, that's what keeps me sane, because that's what programs me to, like, I'm talking about myself. Like, okay, what's my purpose today? What am I gonna do? How do I feel about today? What am I grateful for? What's my vision for my life? All these things that I could sit there and think about it in my head, but I think talking out loud or even talking into the mirror is such a more powerful practice. So thanks for bringing that one up, man. That's a good one.
Not a problem.
Cool, man. Well, that's all we got for today. Podcast.
All right, we are outroing the episode. That is really loud. One sec. All right, so we got the music going. Okay, so thank you everybody who tuned in to this episode of the Leading Life podcast. If you guys are tuning in live, like, you're awesome. We always get like some like relatively the same kind of people around. We got Andrea, Asik, Berge, Mark Duncan, a lot of people like that. There was Shelby there. Everybody's there. It's awesome. I love it. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who tuned in live. Also, if you guys want to do us a favor, if you guys have the time, please go to iTunes and look up Leading Life on iTunes and just give it a review. That would just help us more than anything. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. Brennan, your last words?
I love you.
All right. Brennan loves you. You heard it here first, folks. What about you, Kyle?